Today was budget day. Labour have finally shown their cards on what they're going to be doing over the next 5 years. And you know what? It wasn't as bad as it might have been. So let's take a look at how it might affect you. Now, if you're an employer, you're going to be thinking very carefully about your employment bill because they've said that they're not going to tax the employee, but they most definitely are taxing the employer. So the national insurance contributions from an employer is now increased by 1.2% to 15%. They've also lowered the threshold at which it kicks in. So more employees are going to have this applied through the employer's national insurance contribution. They've also increased the national minimum wage to £12.21 an hour. And they're aligning every single adult to being on a national living wage over the course of the next few years. So all in all, this is going to have an impact on salaries, on the growth of companies. And I think we're going to see a bit of a lull in investment in certain sectors. One of the things that the government, I think, has missed is that we're no longer in just a UK-based workplace economy. We can choose to employ anybody from anywhere in the rest of the world. So we outsource to places like the Philippines or to India, and the wage requirements over there are very different, and we can leverage exchange rates and time zones to be able to make our businesses very effective. So there are definitely going to be some minimum wage jobs that we no longer pay £12 an hour for. We're now paying £4 to £5 an hour for in a different time zone, in a different economy. But if we move over to property now, the key thing that we didn't see was an increase in capital gains tax. It's one of those things that the government have been putting out there, and to be fair, they've been throwing a lot of mud at the wall to see what's going to stick. And this particular one, they had talked about raising it dramatically, but they've kept it the same. They have increased the capital gains tax on shares, businesses. So if you're in that particular market, it's becoming less attractive to sell. Now, the big headline grabber from the property investment side is the increase in stamp duty. Historically, we've had a 3% surcharge for additional dwellings, which means if you're buying your second or subsequent property, you have to pay 3% on top of what you were paying before. Now, that 3% is increased to 5%, so a 2% increase in the cost of the stamp duty. And that comes in with immediate effect from the 31st of October 2024. If you've exchanged a property prior to the 31st of October, it's not going to affect you. You can complete and pay the old rate of stamp duty. But if you are exchanging on the 31st or beyond, then you are paying the higher rate. This is going to drive investment away from the residential sector. It means that we're going to be seeing the down value of development opportunities where the starting place is a residential property. But we're also going to see a shift to the purchase of mixed use and commercial properties. This is a space that a lot of people are in already. We do a lot of commercial conversions to residential flats and HMOs, and we see it as a highly profitable way of creating new residential dwellings. The government now are effectively incentivizing us to act in the commercial space because it is so much cheaper to do this. It's also cheaper for our commercial tenants. Some of the developments we may do involve residential and commercial, so they become mixed-use schemes, and small businesses are going to benefit from better business rates regimes. We don't know the full extent of what it's going to look like just yet. Ultimately, the spaces are going to be more affordable, so we're more likely to be able to get good tenants that stay a long period of time from the commercial side as well, with businesses that can really start to thrive. Rachel Reeves also talks about planning reform with zero information about how it's going to be done. The devil will be in the detail when it comes to that one, so watch this space for more information when we know it. And then there was lots of mention of investment in rail infrastructure, instead of going north to south, talking about east to west. So if you're looking for investment areas, do check out the towns and cities that are going to be better connected if everything goes forward. And also look for the investment zones that they announced, the specific investment projects like the green energy, the green hydrogen, all of that carbon capture that may increase employment in areas that need housing. So look for the opportunity amongst everything that was said and go and read the detail, because the announcement was that's what it was. It was an announcement, and then there were reams and reams and reams of documentation to go through as well. If we spot any more opportunities, we'll be sure to share them with you over time. But for now, in summary, the budget, you know what? It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. In fact, I think there's huge opportunity in it and it's telling us we need to go and do something a bit differently. And you know what? If we're going to do residential developments and we're going to buy houses and convert them or do them up or flip them, we just have to factor in these higher numbers, which unfortunately is going to push down the value of the property for the owner. One thing that we're not entirely sure is whether it's actually going to lead to increased revenue, because if investors and people that are buying second and subsequent properties are no longer buying them, it could lead to actually a reduction in the amount of tax that's received through this way. Ultimately, Rachel Reeves hit a lot of the right notes. The market seemed to like what she was saying. It was all about growing the economy, investing in problems that need fixing, and doing it in a way which doesn't impact the general population. But I think there are going to be some unintended consequences with the taxes that have been put onto businesses. Thank you for watching. This has been a very quick budget roundup. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, click the subscribe button, hit the like button, and definitely comment with anything that you see that is important to you, any questions that you've got around this, and we'll be sure to answer it in a future video. See you in the next one.